Are you doing anything good? You watching anything good at the moment?
I'm keeping up with The Mandalorian, though I did not watch yesterday's. No, 2 days.
Mm.
Wednesday, right? They come out Wednesday.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the latest episode, but I did watch the first two, and
Yep. I'm two in.
I'm excited. I feel like we're finally getting a decent story as far as what's going on with the Mando. I think the first season was good because it was about Mando and Grogu.
Yeah.
And then the second season kind of was just like, what's the story about? Is it about
Yeah,
Grogu?
it did.
Is the story
It
about
loses the thread a little
Mando?
bit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's almost like the second season seems like it's the second movie of a trilogy, right?
Yeah,
Where you're
right.
like, all right, it's good. It's setting up plot. Like I would just think of like the Two Towers, right?
Yeah.
Set up everything. The first movie was a good standalone movie. They could have just made that one.
Yeah.
And that would have been it. Like, oh, okay, they're just gonna go off into the distance.
Yeah.
And the second movie really set the tone for the rest of the trilogy. And then, Empire Strikes Back did the same thing. People think like, well, that one's not as exciting, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, yeah, but that's the bulk of the story, man. That's where everything happens, And then Return of the Jedi is just pew, pew, pew. And the first, episode 4 is just pew, pew, pew. So
yeah. I think you're right that season 2 of Mando is kind of a transitional year, but you need it. I mean, it's not like they're wasting time. Yeah. Like it's necessary. But you mentioned Empire Strikes Back. I'm reading the novelization of Empire Strikes Back right now because I've never read it.
Really?
And you and I are planning to talk about the Return of the Jedi novelization for the 40th anniversary. So I was like, well, I've read A New Hope, and I've got to read Empire before we start. And it's good. It's interesting. There's always just like little things in the novelizations that make them kind of weird. So yeah, I'm excited to do that, and I'm really excited to dig into Return of the Jedi when we get there.
I know, man. That's going to be exciting.
I know.
Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond.
Today, we are discussing Season 2, Episode 13A, Party Ewok. This episode originally aired on December 13th, 1986. We were wee boys. If you didn't know.
I don't know what tick got into your head where you're like, I have to say it, but God bless you.
We were wee boys.
God bless you.
I want to go back and see if it was the first episode. Probably it was the first episode.
Probably when we transitioned from 85 to 86. You just couldn't. Probably. As usual, this episode was written by Bob Carew, and what a bang up job he did with this episode, right? Written by Bob Carew, directed by Dale Scott, released on VHS on Ewoks 5, Wicket's Adventures. Our featured cast member today is Jim Crana. Jim takes over the voice of Tebow in Season 2. He returned to some voice work on several video games, including a few Carmen Sandiego titles, as well as Police Quest and King's Quest. His final appearance was in the film Happily Even After, and he passed away in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Were you a Carmen Sandiego fan?
I watched that show. I watched the live version of the show on television, religiously. I loved that show. That's how I know
the game show.
The game show. Yeah. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where what was the? It was like that vocal group was like the music. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah. I loved that, and I love the cartoon as well.
I didn't really watch the cartoon.
But I don't think that I ever actually played one of the video games.
I may have, like a computer game.
Yeah. No, I never did, but I did love those shows. So, good memories.
Yeah, they were great.
With old Carmen Sandiego.
Heck yeah, man.
Less good memories with this episode, though. So let's do it. Let's Party Ewok.
You want me to jump right in so we can get it over with?
I guess so, yeah.
All right, the uber detailed plot of Season 2, Episode 13A, Party Ewok. We open to the whole group of young Ewoks dozing while at one of Princess Kneesa's parties, and it's not a slumber party. Chief Chirpa enters and informs Kneesa that he will be away and needs her to host a welcoming party for Prince Delby, who will be visiting the Ewok village while he is gone. If she's up to it, that is. Latara snaps out of her nap when she hears the word prince and quickly sets everyone to work getting ready for the party, though all Kneesa thinks of doing is showing the prince her acorn collection. Latara disapproves irritably. Wicket is off with Baga posting signs about the party, which excites much of the forest creatures, including a bunch of pugs, the local Vroom gang.
Uh-oh.
That night, the party is in full swing with music, conga lines, silly costumes, and weird guests. Latara wonders what the prince looks like, but her daydream is interrupted by the loud arrival of the pug gang. The Ewoks mistakenly greet the pugs as if they were Prince Delby and the royal party that is expected. The pugs end up bullying all the guests. Skeptical of the pugs, Kneesa goes to her father's hut to search for clues on what Prince Delby looks like, but is kidnapped by the pugs who were found burgling the place. The Ewoks finally figure out that Prince Delby isn't one of the pugs, and the Ewoks set off to rescue Kneesa. They barely manage to grab Kneesa and escape the gang, though they are hot on their heels to get her back. Wicket quickly thinks of an idea to lose them using a berry to write a sign, which successfully redirects the pugs, fooling them into thinking there was a wild party going on at the Duloc camp. Relieved and happy, the pugs are gone. The crew heads back to the village with their tails between their legs. However, when they arrive, they find that Chief Chirpa is back with Prince Delby. Delby is sorry that he missed Kneesa's party, but would like to make it up to her by showing her his acorn collection. Kneesa is positively thrilled, and the rest of the Ewoks are absolutely dumbfounded. Roll credits.
All right, I'm just going to put it on Front Street that the pugs are the worst creatures we've ever seen.
Yes. Absolutely.
They're just
the worst.
Awful.
Just the worst.
They're wearing jeans and belts and leather jackets. They all look like Andrew Dice Clay. It's awful. They're like, hey, we're gonna go to the Ewoks party. Oh, it's
hey, look, a party. Let's go to it.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And like the creatures they ride like motorcycles are completely expressionless. They never like move or change. It's a weird thing.
And they make a combustion engine noise.
Right.
Like I had to rewind it a few times to see are their legs like rolling to make that noise? Like
they seem
no,
to be
they're just
completely
walking,
still.
but they're
I don't
creating
know.
dust.
Yeah, they're riding on the corpses of bizarre. These things. I don't know. It's really weird. There's that, and then like there's the weird little like squirrel cat who's just down to party all the time. Like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you didn't like him?
No, I mean, I did. No, I liked him, but I didn't really get what he was about. He just showed up.
I was expecting him to be Delby. Like, I was expecting there to be some mistake. Like this guy's like, this is a great party. Who's this for? You know, and they're like, oh, it's for, Prince Delby. And he's like, well, I'm Prince Delby.
Delby. Yeah. See, that would have been good. That would have been cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the creatures in this, I could not get over the pugs and their being a Vroom gang, just their character designs and literally the clothes. Like one of them was wearing like a white tank top with like chest hair coming out, like a leather jacket. Yeah. Awful.
They're so period to like late mid 80s, I guess I would say. Yeah. Or no, 50s. Yeah, they're totally like that. Yeah.
No, they're like an 80s spin on a 50s biker gang. It's just really, the whole time they talked, I just kept thinking they're like Andrew Dice Clay. It's just a bunch of Andrew Dice Clay coming to kidnap Kneesa.
It made it feel like not an Ewoks episode.
Oh, it did, for sure. Yeah.
So that was
the first, took me
because we talk about that all the time where we're like, that didn't really feel like an Ewoks episode. And it's just like, I mean, but it might have been like, I get that it's in the universe. This didn't even feel like the Ewoks show. Like it didn't. It could have been completely different.
It wasn't even true to itself, and it is itself isn't that consistent. But this was just like above and beyond. This was just a weird move.
Yeah.
One complaint that we've had many times is how empty the village seemed. So it was actually nice to see a bunch of different Ewoks. Like when Tebow's in charge of entertainment or whatever, he puts together a walkling band, and so there's a bunch of little walklings playing instruments, walking around.
It makes such a horrible noise too.
They do, yeah. The party at the beginning, we had all these like extra people like crashing at Kneesa's place. Yeah. So, I did like to see that. I thought that was good. I also thought there was something weird about Wicket hanging posters. That seemed just kind of, I don't know,
and they were like giant leaves.
I don't know. That was odd too, but
it was a party to invite the entire forest, I guess, or the forest area, which was weird. And one thing about that, you mentioned those other Ewoks that were at her party that was, apparently became a slumber party.
Yeah.
It was, was that I found it a little disappointing that we saw in that one scene, there was probably like 9 or 10 different Ewoks right there, but they were all similar shade of color, and they all had like gray or dark blue cowls on, and it was just like, oh, we've seen like scenes. I think in the first season where I remember a significant episode where we were like, wow, we saw like 7 different distinct Ewoks all at the same time. Different colors, different headdresses, different, some had necklaces on. But this one was just like, here's 12 Ewoks, but they all look the same. Nobody bothered to like shade them different colors.
It was definitely a similar color palette. And I thought that when it's either Kneesa or Latara, I can't remember, one of them is picturing what they think Delby's going to look like, and it's like this suave Ewok. So the imagined Delby was a cool looking Ewok, but that was just like a little made up imagination. But it's crazy to me that like the Vrooms live on this planet and nobody knows who they are. Like nobody recognizes them, or on this moon.
It seemed pretty obnoxious. Yeah, the one the guy you talked about, that little party goer that was like totally into it.
Yeah,
he knew who they were,
right?
And he's at the party. Wouldn't he have been like, "Wait, what?" Or wouldn't he have ran?
Yeah, something. Yeah. I don't know, but it's just it. I don't know. Everybody is just so hapless. Like Logray is there and everything, and he's not like, this doesn't seem right. He's like, oh, Chief Chirpa wishes he could have been here, and that's it. Like nobody really does anything here. And then when they start like robbing the place, and they just put Kneesa in a bag and toss her on the back of one of their motorcycle monsters, nobody seems to notice, and she's like very clearly there.
Like yelling and screaming and because they were kind of like, oh look, Kneesa. I guess Kneesa's going off with them, and she's like, help, like clearly like in a sack screaming like, oh look, she's having so much fun, It's like, what?
Dude? What game is that? It was at this point where I noticed one of the pugs belt buckle, and I was just like, I can't with this episode. I can't.
I didn't see that. That's funny though. They were clearly wearing jeans though.
They were, like definitely they had on some dungarees. No question there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so they're they didn't even rob the place though. They just kidnapped Kneesa, and like to what end? That's what I was thinking. Like, are they gonna hold her ransom?
What? Didn't they have sacks? They like were stuffing.
Oh, that's
stuff
right. They did have a sack. They did have a sack. Because eventually when Kneesa's saved, she uses her little lasso thing to hook the bag, and she catches the bag, and then Wicket redirects them with the sign. Yeah, you're right.
The thing I thought about it was, though, that she was just like, these guys don't seem like Prince Dalby. I'm going to go see what he looks like. And she leaves them and goes to the hut, but they're also there.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, I guess.
The same guy. It's that same leader guy.
Yeah, right, it is.
He's like, you stay here. I'm going to go check this out. And she like walks away, and he's there too.
Oh,
wait a minute,
gosh.
what? Like, these guys are everywhere.
I thought the posters were weird, but I did like that the resolution also involved the posters. That like Wicket makes that fake one and sends them to the Duloc camp. I also appreciated the Duloc mention because we haven't seen.
Yeah,
I haven't like kept count, but I feel like out of like the 26 or so of this second season, we haven't seen the Dulocs more than a handful of times.
I kind of expected them to be the one to find when he like walked away, and I was like, this is it. Somebody's going to find the poster that they don't want to come to the party.
Yeah.
And these guys rolled up, and I was like, dang. Like, that was a chance for a Duloc.
Yeah, I don't know why they downgraded the Dulocs in season 2 so much. I mean, as goofy as they were, it was kind of nice to have a regular, like, antagonist. But we should go back and count and see how many times we actually see them. And I don't know. I mean, we only have 2 more episodes to cover. Maybe we've seen the Dulocs for the last time. Who knows?
Oh, man.
When we finally see Prince Delby, he's like kind of long and lanky, and he has kind of a Droopy the dog voice. Yeah. I want to look. Let me show you my acorns.
And he looks like, who's that guy from the last episode that we dealt with? Nebo?
Oh,
Neely?
I know who you mean.
Navy, or he had a similar face.
Yeah, he
right?
did.
That, like, which was very strange to me. Like, he did have he has a puppy dog face.
Yeah.
Except whatever the guy from the last episode was, he had like a puppy dog face with Norky. That's it.
Norky.
He had a puppy dog face with like a kangaroo body. Where this guy had like a puppy dog face with like a weird, lanky,
human body.
You know, like
he was the stuff of nightmares.
Man. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Stuff of nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about this one. What was your Okavark moment?
Mine was just the biker gang. I think in general was completely distracted from the whole story. I think they could have written a better story if it was the Dulocks, right? Like, oh, here's the Dulocks again. Like, Wicket, we told you to invite people, not everyone, and so I don't know. I just thought that was the biker gang in general pulled it away from being Star Wars and Ewoks.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's what killed it.
Like in the last episode, remember we were talking about Norky's parents and how like they just look like a 1950s, like they look like the parents from Leave It to Beaver or something. Like she's wearing pearls, and it was just kind of like weird to have them, just like dressing like humans, I guess. And it was, it was,
you're right,
totally weird this time around because there's just no mistaking. It's not like they're like hinting at kind of a biker vibe. It's just like, go to a Kmart and get them a biker outfit, and that's pretty much what we had. So I have to agree with you. That was mine too. I couldn't stand these guys.
They're like phoning it in now. It's not even. Oh man.
Yeah, I would love to be in the writer's room, assuming there was a writer's room. But it just seems like, all right. So I'm thinking Kneesa's kidnapped by a modern biker gang.
Yeah, like, wait, maybe we should rethink that.
No, I love it. Let's do it. Yeah. What about your Ichiwawa moment?
Well, wait, I want to finish with
sorry.
They lost the moral lesson, right? They were kind of on a little roll there, and I don't know where this episode feels like like an episode they made earlier when they abandoned the moral lesson.
Yeah.
So they kind of had like two in a row, and then this one just like, not only was it terrible, it had no moral lesson in it, and they were on a roll with that, man. So my Ichiwawa moment was that random party dude. I really liked him. I really wanted him to be important. Cat. Yeah, the cat squirrel. I don't know what that thing was.
I don't either.
But he came out of a tree. He was like, party!
Ready to party. Came out of my tree just moments ago. Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah, he was strange.
Oh, man. Yeah, but that was mine. What about yours?
I think it was the poster thing. Like, I thought it was cool that they got there because of a poster, and then Wicket, I thought it was clever of him to make a new poster that's like, new party at the Dulocks. I guess, the symmetry of that. So I thought that was kind of cool, but I was really scraping to try to find something that I could say positively about this because I feel like this is maybe the worst episode we've watched. What do you think about that?
I don't know. This is a bad episode, though. When I watched it, I wasn't just like miserable. There's been a couple episodes that I was just like, dude, I can't even. Like, why is this a 20-minute episode? Like, this is terrible. So it's just like the only redeeming factor of this episode was that it was like 11 minutes long. So it was just like, whew, it's over. Like, right when I started to get annoyed, it was done. And so I just kind of was just like, that wasn't even.
All right.
It wasn't even Star Wars. Right. How can I be annoyed? I wasn't Star Wars,
I suppose. I wasn't just like, bored and aggressively irritated the whole time. I just really didn't like it. So we could probably agree that's bottom 5. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Not one that I would recommend to somebody. How about that?
No. Yeah.
All right.
Especially if they'd be like, wait a minute, this is what the show is like. You don't want them to see this one because this is supposedly what the show is not supposed to be like this.
Right. No, it's not. It's not. That's why I'm excited about Battle for Sunstar because it seems like it actually has some like cool stuff in it. So I'm glad we're saving that one for last. But that means we do have one between now and then. Next time we're going to be watching episode 13B, Milani the Warrior. Technically, this was the last new episode that aired. So this is the last original sequence that we'll see. So sort of the finale, sort of not. But that's what we're going to be talking about next time. And remember, for our May the 4th special, we're going to be reading The Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Rivas. So if you want to read along with us and join in on that discussion, we'll be doing that on May the 4th.
Man, I can't wait for that. That looks really good.
I know, it does look good. I'm excited to read that. I'm excited to get to the Droids show and the Ewoks comics as well.
Wait, we forgot Yup Nubs. Do we?
Oh, that's
conveniently
right. Yes.
Well, see you next time, guys.
Two Yup Nubs?
I was thinking 2. So I was just like, oof. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, is too generous?
There were a few things, like them kind of hosting another, like Kneesa having the opportunity to meet like another future leader is kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
She does do a cool thing with her lasso where she catches the bags and stuff. And
that's true. Yeah.
You know how it kind of comes around that she just wants to relax and look at acorns, and so does Delby, is kind of a cute thing. So, it's
although
not
that was pushed. I knew that was going to come back around. When they're all I want to do is just look at my acorns. And when she said that, I was just like, yeah, that's going to come back somehow.
Yep. And
this guy's going to not like the party, but he's going to want to play with the acorns. And he did. I knew it. It's predictable.
All right. Good catch. We got those Yub Nubs in there. All right. Well, then I will see you next time for Milani the Warrior.
Yeah. See you then, everyone. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 9021 Here We Go, 90s Music Got Me Like, and previously on X-Men. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life. Please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.
I just want to look at my acorns.